Welcome to Straight Talk with host Dr. Sharon Barnes and TR McCarthy. Back at it again, the world famous Straight Talk with Dr. Sharon Barnes and TR McCarthy. Dr. Barnes, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, TR. How are you?
I'm doing great. You like that introduction?
Yes, I did.
Now,
Makes me
it-
sound real big.
exactly. It's world famous in my mind, of course. We're going to get there, right?
We get it in.
We're going to get there. You're going to get there. I'm actually happy about today because we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but two of the things we're going to talk about ADUs and real estate agents. And if I'm not mistaken, you have an event scheduled within the next week or so that's going to deep dive into talking directly to real estate agents on how to handle ADUs in their transaction. Is that correct?
Exactly, exactly. I am so excited to finally be able to do this because I've been in this ADU space for a while, and I'm also an active realtor dealing with so many homeowners and buyers. And so I see some of the issues that's coming up when we're talking about realtors' responsibility, representation, and transaction. And I don't think there's enough information that we've been given as realtor professionals, that we've been given good strong framework as to how to really navigate ADUs, because it's no longer a niche type conversation. It's really becoming a part of our every real estate transaction every day, from the buyer side and the seller side.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I love that. Well, I know I want to be cognizant of your time because I know you are a very, very busy woman, all the things you got going on. So let's jump right into it and ask these questions. You down for that?
Yes, I am. I'm ready.
Why are ADUs and secondary structures becoming such an important issue in today's real estate transactions?
Basically, we have this housing shortage that's nationwide. And so most realtors and our communities know that housing is at a premium. And so homeowners are looking to maximize the use of their property even more, especially using ADU strategies. And buyers are looking at property differently. They're not looking just for a place to live, but they're looking for potential income, multi-generational living solutions, and long-term wealth building assets. And so when we go out as realtors and real estate professionals to assist the buyers and the sellers, we really have to be aware of what's going on in the accessory dwelling unit niche, secondary housing and structure, middle housing, and all the laws and regulations that's changing. And so as it becomes more common, our clients, the buyers and sellers, are coming to realtors wanting certain property, like to say, I want to buy a property that's large enough for my mother, to live on. I'm gonna build her ADU. And we don't know what to verify, what to disclose, what extra we need to do during the inspection, how this can affect the financing and appraisal, and we don't understand the risk that exists to the clients and the agent when we're dealing with secondary structures and ADUs. So it is becoming something that we really have to pay attention to protect ourselves, our client, and our transaction.
Wonderful. I believe that ADUs are becoming so prevalent in our marketplace to where now either you are looking to buy a home with an ADU, looking to buy a home to add an ADU, looking to even get some investment properties, put ADUs on it. And at this point in time, most people, including the buyers, but especially the agents, they're lost. Let's just put it that way. They're lost. And they don't have the education or the information in order to educate their clients, but also be educated themselves. And which is going to bring me to the next question because you and I have been in this business for a very long time, for decades, okay? And you are a certified realtor, but you also know that you and your colleagues sometimes have an issue with not understanding that you need help. Okay. Especially on the mortgage side or when it comes to things like ADUs. ADUs have been around for a long time, but most real estate agents don't believe that it's going to affect them and their clients. So, my next question is, what are some of the biggest mistakes that realtors, real estate agents make when dealing with properties that have secondary structures in ADUs?
Well, I think one of the biggest mistakes is not really understanding that the climate that we have to operate in has changed. It used to be that you would maybe list a property and there was a secondary structure, maybe a converted garage. And we ask the owners, when was this garage converted? Is it permitted? And they would say, I don't know. It was here when I bought it. And it wasn't an issue when they bought it 20 years ago. And that would just be sufficient. We would just disclose unpermitted or unknown, and we would just go on to the next, and we would be able to go through this transaction. But let's say a buyer comes up and sees this converted garage that the current owner has been leasing out or renting for years, and it was there when they bought it and never been an issue. So the new buyer thinks they can step in to the shoes of the existing. And that is not going to be the case because the climate has changed where now we do have to do some due diligence as to whether it's permitted or not. It has an impact and everything's not going to be grandfathered in. And realtors, we need to become more conscious of the fact that we need to step back and realize that this is the first time that government agencies, inspection, health and safety issues have even been addressed for the last 20, 30 years because the first time the property been on the market. And so not understanding the implications of it being legalized, permitted, and doing that history and that due diligence is going to impact that transaction. However, I do want to pivot a little bit because I do not advocate that realtors need to go out and verify legality, permits, and everything, but they need to empower their client to do so. And that's one reason why we're having this event on June 4th, is because I think that is one of the rare occasions that they'll be able to see resources in professionals that can answer questions, provide resources during the inspection period when they're out in the middle of the transaction. Because there's a lot of risk when you go as a realtor to get information, convey it to your client, and you're not the expert and you're not licensed, and they rely on that. In the legal field, you can end up being sued for what we call detrimental reliance. And that doesn't have to be covered in your disclosure or written down. That is that I told you that I wanted to buy a property where I could build an ADU for my mother. I bought this property because you said, look at this lot. It looks big enough. You have plenty of room. And when I bought the property and went to the agency, they told me that I couldn't build it because I had a soil problem. I didn't have enough room for second septic tank. There was some other problem, and I relied on you. And but for your representation, I wouldn't have bought it. So up to 4 years after the transaction closed, the realtor can be liable for that client relying on them. So we need to get very aware of some of the issues that are coming up in our daily transaction, resources that's in our community, and how to protect our clients, ourselves, and our transaction. And I'll take a
That's
breath.
aw that's awesome. You're so good, you actually went to the next question I was about to ask you regarding risk because I know that this particular, presentation that's held here coming up, you're gonna be talking more about risk management other than construction and building the ADUs like we have in the past. So, do you wanna elaborate on that risk management just a little bit more, or did you think you already covered that?
Well, I want to just a little bit more because I one of the instances that occurred that really brought back my background as an attorney. I practiced for 25 years and been in real estate now for more than 15, almost 20 years. So I heard a scenario and encountered a gentleman who was going through something, and it really just hit home from the real estate part as a realtor because he had bought a property and it had what had been described in the MLS or the description as a casita. And he looked at that casita on the property and he bought it with the intent of renting it out. And he came in and he was saying that the realtor and the seller said it was permitted. And his whole conversation with me was just going over and over that the realtor and the seller said it was permitted, but he had received a notice from the county that said it was unpermitted and that he couldn't rent it out or do the renovations that he had anticipated. So he was very upset, and he was coming to see why the realtor and the seller told him it was permitted, and he got this notice that it wasn't. So in this conversation, just to get to this particular point, was that when he went to the representative to ask if his casita was permitted, the representative immediately said, casitas are not a permittable structure. So sometimes realtors, when we're using descriptive language in the marketing of a listing, we know that we don't want to use ADUs because we might not know exactly what the criteria is for something to be an ADU, and we'll put casita because people can imagine what that is. Or we'll even now, ADU has become such common term or reference that we'll put in the description possible ADU or potential ADU. But that in and of itself is not going to save you from liability when someone tells you, this is what I want to do with the property, this is what I intend, and you tell them it was permitted. Long story short, that gentleman found out that yes, what he had visualized on that property was permitted. However, it was permitted as a bedroom, not as an ADU. And so he could not legally rent it out or have it occupied for long-term sustainable living. And so that is the issue. That is one of the issues that realtors can find themselves in when they go just basically off of what the seller says or not being a contractor, architect, or looking up permits and not letting their buyers know that during this 17-day inspection period, we probably need to bring in a general contractor that specializes in ADUs, contact an ADU consultant. We need to get some extra information to make sure that this structure on the property you can carry out your intent and your goal once we close. So, yeah, but the event on June 4th is where we're going to have not only myself, but general contractor, appraiser, yourself as a lender, you as a lender, and a title rep there so we can talk about real life scenarios that realtors are running into, how to document and protect yourself, and the resources that's available to you and your client to mitigate any type of miscommunication, misunderstanding, and lawsuits after your transactions close.
That's true. One thing I will say again regarding real estate agents is they need to understand the importance of having a team behind them, not just a lender, which that's the number one thing you should have. Coming from a mortgage broker, you need to have a lender, but you also need to have a team for just this purpose. When you're talking about ADUs, when you're talking about additional dwelling units, when you're talking about items that are non-traditional to the average real estate transaction in the past, but it's becoming more traditional now. If you do not have the education or the information, you have to have somebody on your team that you can pick up the phone, that you can refer to, that you can give your clients access to people that will walk them through that process. And we all care about, "Hey, I don't want to refer somebody over because they're going to try to steal my client." If you're worried about that, the person you're referring to is the wrong person. Okay?
It's
Because
true.
everybody here is not trying to steal your client. They have a particular job to do. That's that particular section. If you're the real estate agent and you want to refer to an actual ADU specialist, consultant, certified uh, procure procurement operator, you have to be able to trust that they're going to stay in that lane, even if they are registered real estate agent. They're not going to take your client because if they do, they're shooting themselves in the foot. Okay,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you have to worry about our
Exactly.
panel. Our panel does not do that. Okay,
Yes,
all right,
exactly. I love working with realtors again because I understand the industry and I'm part of the industry and an active member, but I don't compete with realtors. I mean, if you need my assistance as an ADU consultant, you need my resources, my access to my network, advice on how to go, to the next step and help your client go to the next step in their ADU journey. That is something that I understand, and we have that relationship, and you don't have to worry about me, my team, or anyone stealing your clients. We do not do that. We deal with equity and integrity and honesty, and anyone who doesn't, no longer part of our network. So anyway, you can reach out to us, and we're here to support you. And that's what we want to really convey at the event on June 4th, is that you get face to face with different business owners, different industry providers. Ask the questions, see what the resources are to you and your client. And you will be surprised that we have a lot of local, highly qualified resources that can help us not only with our sellers and our buyers when it's dealing with ADUs and secondary structures, but help us get more listings and really impact our community and this housing shortage in a very significant way.
absolutely. I love our team. I do.
I do too, and it's growing, but I love them.
It is growing. All right. So my next question is, what role does the inspection period play when properties have ADUs or converted spaces?
Well, the inspection period has always been very critical to a real estate transaction, but these days, when we're talking about the way the industry and real estate market is evolving, it's taken on a more important meaning when it comes to engaging other professionals on behalf of especially our buyers during that period, because it says in the RPA dealing with inspection periods that you need to bring in any professional that your client needs in order to make an informed decision and complete, due diligence for a particular property. And typically, we look at a home inspector and we look at a termite inspection, and those are basically what is common in the transaction. And then in certain areas, especially in the Inland Empire, we know sometimes we have to get the septic tank. We got to get a cert for the septic. And occasionally it comes up about the roof and things like that. But now with ADUs and secondary structures, we need to advise our clients, especially our buyers, that they need to get an inspection on any existing structure from a general contractor or ADU certified strategist or consultant um, during the inspection period, just to see if there's any red flags. Now, some of these services are free and some of them may cost. The average cost for, say, a site inspection on a property that you have in escrow is probably going to be around $500, about the same price as a home inspection, but it's going to be worth it if you intend to use that property for generational wealth, rental income, multi-generational living. It is better that you know what is truly going on with that property as best you can before you close escrow. And then the benefit also is that if you actually choose the right person, the right network, and the right contact, then after you close, you will have someone that in place that understands your goals already and can help you take the next step. So it's just becoming more important to expand your team, as TR had mentioned, to include contractors, ADU strategists and consultants, and other people who deal with secondary housing, lot development, and various housing solutions. So when it comes up, you need to address it during that inspection period. And also at the event, we will talk about how, give you some suggestions on how you can document and inform your clients so that they understand what options are available to them, and there's evidence that you have shared those options with them.
Absolutely. I think you hit on something that stood out to me. I think our agents need to realize when they're talking to their clients about ADUs and what their goals are for that they're trying to build generational wealth. And when building generational wealth, sometimes there is a cost involved with that, but you want to make sure if you're doing this to build that, to leave something, a legacy to your kids or grandkids, you want to make sure that everything is correct up front. All your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed, because when you pass and you try to transfer that property into the names of your children's or whatever, and it has an legal issue, they're going to have to take care of it anyway. So you want to make sure
Exactly.
that you can do that up front. All right. Now I want you to change gears just a little bit. And I want you to tell us about the panel discussion portion of this event on June the 4th. Tell us about the panel.
Well, like I said, I am so excited to have this opportunity to present to realtors and to have a real estate focused, real estate transaction focused discussion. But in addition to that, it was really on my heart to reach out to some of my network partners and ask them to participate, because I want the realtors to be able to get answers directly from industry professionals in the different areas, especially that we engage in. So we have a lender, we have the broker there. TR McCarthy will be there, with his expertise. That he's been great. We've closed a lot of ADU projects together here in the Inland Empire. We have trained the sellers and buyers and even community agencies on ADUs together. So we're excited that he'll be part of the panel. And then we have someone from title that's going to be there to answer your title questions and deal with that scenario. We have an appraiser, and the appraiser also has a background in real estate, which makes him really a golden ticket to be there, to be able to ask your questions to an appraiser about the impact of ADUs and secondary structures on property and what you as a realtor should be aware of. And then we also have general contractor who's also an ADU project manager, and he has built ground up construction here throughout the Inland Empire, not only with ADUs, but on small lot development and multifamily. And so to have that type of um, team and panel available to, number one, show you that we have a true, um, highly qualified team and resources here in the Inland Empire, but to allow you to share the real life experiences that you've had, the scenarios and the questions, and get answers from not only myself, Dr. Sharon Barnes, but my network partners. Is just a real privilege for me, and I'm looking forward, especially to that part of the presentation, because I think that's going to be very, very valuable.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for extending me the opportunity to speak on this panel. As always, I love doing workshops, webinars, seminars with you whenever I can. We go out to different places and just speak and have fun and have a lot of fun, actually, and educate the people, right? We just educate the people.
Yes, yes.
Now, the time has flown. We're almost done, but I want to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to let you talk about the event on the 4th. The final question I have for you is, Why should real estate agents attend this particular um, gathering, the seminar on the 4th? And what do you want them to walk away with?
Well, I think I've said it probably several times during this presentation, but I really think real estate professionals ought to attend because I haven't seen very many, if any, ADU trainings that focus on the real estate transaction side of our industry. I also know that the laws in ADUs are ever changing, and ADUs and secondary structures are being tightly integrated into our real estate market and the representation and obligation that we have to buyers and sellers. And so this is an opportunity to get information and also to reach out to people like myself and tell me what concerns and issues that you have that we can help you with or that you would need further instruction in or areas that you think we ought to look into a little bit deeper, following up individually or in another event. The thing I want the realtors to walk away with would be more confidence in dealing with secondary units on properties, especially ADUs, more awareness and um, proactive mindset when it comes to buyers who are relying on them to guide them where secondary units and ADUs might be involved. And I would love them to walk away with resources and relationships that'll last long beyond the event, with the panelists that'll be there, the networking that we will facilitate, and the people that they meet. I want them to walk away with confidence, resources, and relationship.
Wow. Well, every time I spend time with you, I always walk away more confident about myself. Okay. For more education, I always say Dr. Barnes has one of the biggest brains I've ever seen before in my life. And I always learn something. Now, before we get out of here, though, I want you to look into the camera and I want you to tell about the event. I want you to tell them about your link on how to get there. I believe it is ADU dot drsharonbarnes.com. Dr. Barnes, tell us
Yeah.
about your link here.
Yeah, so when you go to that link, you'll be able to register for the event, and I would love to see you register and let me know that you'll be in attendance so we will be providing lunch, and we want a head count so we can have sufficient handouts and information and so forth for you. So if you could register as soon as possible, we greatly appreciate it. And it's going to be at the Inland Valley Association of Realtors. It is a free event and it is open to all realtors. You do not have to be a member of IVAR. You can just be a real estate professional or a real estate provider and want to attend, interested in ADUs, interested in meeting local resources and gathering information to better serve our community. You're welcome.
Thank you again, Dr. Barnes, for your information, your wealth of knowledge. And I'm going to look out here and I'm going to tell people right now, this is just me talking. If you are a real estate professional, you're a real estate agent, and you want to take your business to the next level, not only do you want to, but you need to learn about ADUs and bringing on a team that can help you facilitate ADUs, even if it's not a sale. You want to basically be able to refer over and help build that ADU business, even if it's going to be somebody you already sold a home to, because it is a very, very necessary arrow in your quiver in today's market. Trust me when I say this. You want to come on the 4th to IVAR. It is going to be at the Inland Valley Association of Realtors, 3690 Elizabeth Street, Riverside, California, 92506, from 12 to 1:30. If you are in the Inland Empire, if you are a real estate agent. You know who IVAR is. Dr. Sharon Barnes
Yeah.
and her panel of professionals will be speaking to all of IVAR. Okay? It's a big thing. So please go to the link adu.drsharonbarnes.com and register today so we can make sure we get a head count and make sure we have enough food so you can stuff your face. All right? Don't wait to the last minute, please. As soon as you see this, go down if you want to come and register so we can have enough food and refreshments for you. You'll be able to then ask your questions during the presentation, and afterwards, you will be able to network and mingle with other industry professionals, from contractors to appraisers to title officers to mortgage brokers, one stop shops, and the star of the day, Dr. Sharon Barnes, one of the only, or one of the few, I would say, certified ADU consultant specialist in California. Okay. Anything else you want to say, Dr. Barnes?
No, this has been awesome. I'm excited about this event. I'm looking for a great turnout. I know it will be valuable. I know that it will fill the need to something that's been lacking in our industry right now regarding ADUs. And I'm just excited to be able to deliver it. And I look forward to seeing you there.
I look forward to seeing you there as well. This is Straight Talk. I am TR McCarthy, aka TR the Long Guy. I'm the mortgage broker for Sceptre Mortgage, a California mortgage brokerage. If you are looking to purchase, refinance, build an ADU, you're a veteran, you're a senior citizen, and you want to alleviate some of your monthly
Yes.
expenses, give me a call today. You can go into the link right there, homebuyer.sceptermortgage.com. You can book a consultation right then and there, or give me a call at 888-488-5066. Reach out to Dr. Sharon Barnes. Dr. Barnes, give me your information.
Well, basically, you can go to the website at www.adu-advantage.com, or you can reach me at Dr. Sharon at adu-advantage.com, and you can use the QR code and the link to register and see me on June 4th.
All right. And we're now saying see you on the 4th. Talk to you soon.